Hello, hello, hello. I am so afraid that people can hear me while I record. I'm trying not to be awkward, but it's coming out a little awkward. Well, it feels awkward. But anyways, my topic for today is hobbies and consumerism, as if I stay on topic anyway. But recently, I bought the 320 Ohuhu marker set. Financially responsible decision? Absolutely not. I did not save up for it, okay? And I spent more than $400 on those markers. Just to color. There are cheaper alcohol markers on Amazon. I do not need 320 shades to color a Coco Wyo coloring book. Okay, as fun as these are, so I started watching Kenya Christine on TikTok, and she does gardening coloring sessions. I think that's what they're called. Anyways, by gardening she means weed. And for anyone, I don't know if anyone gets that, like stoners get it, but if someone wasn't a stoner or didn't really understand the lingo, I wonder what they think she's talking about when she says gardening coloring session. But anyways, so she colors so beautifully, and I don't even want to show. Okay, this is what my coloring page looks like. Nothing compared to the amazing Kenya Christine. I'm kind of proud of this one. If you're wondering, I put cardstock, so a thick piece of paper, behind the page I'm coloring so the markers don't bleed. It helps. Also, I learned that not coloring like this, you want to color in like circles, also helps keep the streaks away. You want white gel pen for highlights, and acrylic markers are great for adding designs on top of your watercolor alcohol markers. Anyways, hobbies and consumerism. So the thing is, whenever I start a new hobby or I see a new hobby that people are doing on TikTok or YouTube, I get obsessed and I feel like it turns into retail therapy. Because of my self-esteem and my body issues, I feel like I don't really get satisfaction when I buy clothes. I like having clothes that fit me properly, that I feel comfortable in, but I'm not someone that goes on shopping sprees. If I do, it's because I'm afraid that I'm gonna run out of, like, if I go on a shopping spree, it's usually because I'm replacing a good amount of clothes in my closet, or I'm getting ready for a new season. But for the most part, clothes aren't really my problem. My problem is like things, like material, like clothes are material things, but for me it's hobbies. I see people start these new creative hobbies on TikTok and I want to buy all the supplies that they use and do it myself. For example, like, I wanted to try gouache painting because I saw this amazing artist on YouTube, and I thought that, you know, maybe I could try what she's doing with gouache with acrylic. And I bought really expensive acrylic paints that I ended up not even using. Like, I didn't even use those acrylic paints. And so for this particular hobby, this coloring hobby that I have, so for this coloring hobby that I have, I kept seeing these coloring books on TikTok, and they're only $10, which is amazing. It's not bad at all. The markers. My dog is crying. Hold on, I'll take you with me. No, you gotta go this. No, wrong way. Okay, hold on. Oh, and you're down. Okay, come on. We're up. You're alive. Okay, come. Come. Come on. Okay, well, that was an adventure. Okay, so my dog is 16 years old, so he falls a lot. And we have like mats for him around the house in case he falls and he needs like something to grip onto to get himself back up. Usually one of us is home to help him if he falls. He also has a ramp outside that helps him get in and out of the backyard, or in and out of the house into the backyard. And yeah, he just falls a lot. His legs aren't there. The problem is he's kind of aggressive. Like, he'll bite us if we try to pick him up. But he somehow lets me lift him up. Whenever he falls, he lets me lift him up with my leg, like give him like a little boost, like you saw in the video over there. And I guess, I don't know. I always think it's a flex having an old dog. I'm like, yeah, my dog is so old. He's 16. Have you ever heard of such an old dog? Plenty of people have like dogs that live over the age of 15 or 16. But I guess now it's less of a flex and more like I just feel really bad for the dog. I keep saying he's gonna live forever. He's never gonna die. We always think he's gonna pass away, but he doesn't. He just keeps going. My mom poured boiling water on the ramp that my dog uses to get up and inside the house and outside the house. It's winter, okay? It's the 1st of December. She poured boiling water on the ramp thinking it would melt the ice. But when you do that, the water just freezes and the ramp is just super slippery now. Anyways, I was talking about hobbies and consumerism. Okay, so whenever I start a new hobby, I feel like I end up buying all these things that I don't need, especially because the hobby's new and fresh. And I feel like when you start off as an amateur, you don't need expensive tools or expensive supplies. You just need the basics. I just thought the basics weren't enough for my coloring book. I feel like I don't know why, I was so obsessed with seeing people in their 320 set of the Ohuhu markers, and I splurged. But here's the thing, here's what I wish I knew. No one told me how long it was going to take to do the swatches. The swatches are like the little cards that the set comes with, and there's like squares that are labeled with each marker's name, and you can color in the square next to the name of the marker. I feel like I'm making this sound way more complicated than it is, but it's simple. It's a simple enough task. There's just 320 colors that you have to do, and it took me so long. I think it took me about 2 hours to not just do the swatches on the card, but also color code, organize the bag, because when the bag came to me, none of the colors were organized. It was just random. It's not what you see on TikTok. On TikTok, everyone has somehow organized their Ohuhu markers magically, and they don't talk about how hard it is to actually put them in that order. So yeah, I feel like I was a little misled there. But anyways, they bleed through the paper pretty easily, but I knew that going in to the coloring process. What I didn't know was that on these specific coloring books, or coloring books made with the same paper as this coloring book, the shades appear darker than they do on the swatch card. And I think that's because the swatch card is made of cardstock, and cardstock is thicker, it holds ink differently, and so the colors look different on the swatch card than they do on the coloring pages. So I always have to be careful when I'm picking colors. Picking colors is so overwhelming. I just look at the swatch card and I'm like, oh my god, there's just so many colors to choose from. It's not like you're looking at 12 or 24 pencil crayons. These are so many markers. And it's actually really fun. At first I thought it was going to be overwhelming, but I got used to looking at the swatch card for a color rather than looking at the color cap of the marker, because the color cap of the marker doesn't really, I don't think the color is represented as well on the cap of the marker, but I do think the swatches really help, because you just look at the cards and then you look at the card, you find the color that you want, you remember that the swatch is lighter on the cardstock than it is on paper, so you choose a lighter color, and then you look through the bag and you find the marker. It's as simple as that. But I think it's the options. There's so many options that it becomes overwhelming. I said that the topic of the video was going to be hobbies and consumerism, but I feel like it's going somewhere else. I've been trying to find fulfilling hobbies that are things other than watching YouTube and getting fried off my dab pen. I thought coloring would be a good idea, so I splurged on these markers, and now I guess I have a coloring book hobby, and it's very fun. I used to be into art, and I used to post art on the internet, and I was actually kind of good at it, but what happened was I just stopped practicing, and the drive to do art just dwindled. And now I just don't feel like doing art anymore. So I thought coloring would be a fun way to get back into art in general. But I find, for me, YouTube videos are kind of like art in a way. It's just a different medium. You're still getting to be creative, especially when you're editing or you're taking B-roll and you're vlogging. But yeah, I don't know. I think I watch a lot of money content, and I think because of that money content, I'm super, super aware that the purchase of these markers was really irresponsible or financially irresponsible. So I think that's why I feel so guilty buying these markers, because I knew it was a financially irresponsible decision, yet I bought them. Now I'm praying that my next paycheck makes up for the money that I used up on those markers. Now, were they worth the $400? I don't know. Because I don't know if I would have been satisfied with a smaller set of markers. I keep telling myself I don't need 320 shades, but I love the fact that there are options for me to choose from, and I know it's a full set, so I'm not missing any colors. However, did I really need it? No, I could have survived without it. I would have been fine. But I guess because I wanted to spend less time just staring at my laptop or iPad watching YouTube, I thought it would be a fun hobby, and it is. It is a fun hobby. I just still get fried. It doesn't help me be sober. I still get fried when I color.